Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities. Joining me at the desk, as always, Luther Dupree Jr., Smoking Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, we lost, not lost, but a legend retired. Somebody who was a pay-per-view king, was a guy who fought everybody. You look at his resume, fought everyone under the sun, champion, represented his country in a class way, had a huge following, and that's Manny Pacquiao. Luther, your thoughts on the career and legacy of Manny Pacquiao?
Wow, man, we watched a true legend. 8 division champion, came up from like 100 and nothing,
Yeah, right.
to all the way up to 154, got more power, got more speed. He beat some legends, Oscar De La Hoya. And the fact that he was still fighting young lions.
Young bucks, yeah.
At a late age.
And doing well.
Beat Adrian Broner. Here we see against a legend, Oscar De La Hoya. I didn't think he had a chance to win, but he came and just punished Oscar the entire fight. What can you say about him, man? His little move, he had his own style, quick with his hands, and I just loved everything about him. I wish he would have fought Floyd earlier, but what can you say? He's a guy. Beat Adrian Broner. I didn't think he could do that. Came back, got Keith Thurman, knocked him down.
Yeah.
That was amazing, and the boxing guards were smiling on him when he had to fight Yordenis Ugas instead of Earl Spence, because after we saw what was left of Manny, it could have got very bad for him. And he took a beat in that fight, but luckily Ugas isn't a good fighter. But what can you say? He's just an all-time legend. Enjoyed every fight, always gave you his all, loved him.
I'm going to upset Luther now. Bring up something I know he's going to get mad about. Joe Horn.
Oh, gosh, that was a complete robbery. That was Bob Arum, mad because Pacquiao was leaving, and he made sure that he didn't take that belt with him. So that being said, Terrence Crawford better look out, because his contract is up and he's going to get Sean Porter. But that was a robbery. I saw that fight. I couldn't believe they robbed Manny Pacquiao of that fight. No way Jeff Horn beat him.
No. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on Manny Pacquiao?
I tell you what a great fighter. He started off fighting for his food. Grew up very poor in the Philippines. Turned pro at 106 pounds. Won a title at 112 pounds. And the reason that he was able to improve his weight was because he could eat. He had a diet. He got all the way up to 154, but he never weighed more than 144. He was beating much bigger guys. Probably one of the best offensive fighters in the history of boxing. And like Luther said, too bad Floyd ducked him.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
Years in Pacquiao's prime. That's what really people wanted to see. But Floyd seen when Pacquiao started going downhill a little bit, he seen an opportunity.
No. Jim. No. Let's not go there. The reason that fight didn't happen is because Floyd wanted Olympic-style drug testing, which they eventually did for the fight. But before then, Manny said he didn't want to eat it. He didn't want to take needles and all that other stuff.
Was that part of the?
That's a fact.
But
that's a fact.
Was that part of the mandatory testing?
To fight Floyd, yes, it was.
To fight Floyd.
Floyd,
like I said,
it was the cash cow. To fight Floyd, it wasn't just for Manny. It was for anybody who fought him, because as we know, there are a lot of drug chiefs in the sport of boxing.
You're like one of the millions of Floyd minions.
Yeah, it's a fact.
It's an excuse.
You better stop.
It's an excuse.
Those who listen, we're talking about Manny Pacquiao, right?
He didn't fight him in his prime.
They did fight, and he lost to Floyd.
And Manny fought with one arm, and that's still fighting.
He lost. But he fought him. Jim.
What impressed you most about his style? For me, he wasn't the same. He wasn't. I don't want to say he was awkward, but he wasn't the same guy. Like he would maybe jump at you and throw punches.
He would jump in and fire off, then jump back, and that was a weird.
For example, like Roberto Clemente, you would not teach how to bat like Roberto Clemente. He would step towards third base and hit triple to right field, but you leave him go because he was great. Pacquiao, you don't put him in that box. No, Manny, you have to do it this way. He was great, but what else stood out about
Malik
him?
Scott would change you.
Oh, here you go.
You're right.
A future all-time great trainer, I might add. But listen, he would jump in, and the fact that his defense was a little different as well. He had those big legs, and he could run around the ring. I just was, the fact that he was able to put down a Keith Thurman at an advanced age, put him on his back.
Were you surprised at that?
I was very surprised.
I was worried.
I thought Keith Thurman was going to hurt Manny Pacquiao.
We thought he was going to walk out. Yep.
Pacquiao dominated at the beginning, and then later on Keith Thurman had his moments. But the fact he had enough power to put him put him on his back. And
much
that
bigger
even-
guy.
Yeah, much bigger guy. Thurman even was like, whoa.
Excuse me.
He said he'd never been hit like that. You know, he felt like he was getting hit with stones.
I
So-
knew Manny put one time on his butt.
Oh, God. No, you didn't. You didn't have that fight, Jim.
What was the big attraction with Manny Pacquiao?
The big attraction was
Which
you
was
know,
well deserved.
Yeah.
Big attraction was a poor guy from the Philippines.
Pocket watching, Jim.
Who I tell you what, man, just gave you everything. He fought for 3 minutes of every round.
Excellent point.
You know what I mean? My biggest fear with Manny Pacquiao being that he's short and running for president, I don't need another Napoleon. You know what I mean?
You got to rip on the Italians.
Here we go.
Somewhere along
Here
the
we
line,
go.
we got to go on Bob, Marciano, the
I want to have the
Napoleon.
Philippines
Getting
coming
out
at
of
us.
You guys do it.
But other than that, man, what a likable guy, man. And like I said, he's going to go down in history as one of the greatest offensive fighters and one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters. But unfortunately, he can't go down in history with a win against Floyd Mayweather because Floyd waited the 5 years.
Oh,
to fight.
listen. What you can remember?
That's what I'll remember.
You know, Pacquiao would get in there, during a press conference, talking like Jim when we have a woman and.
I know, right.
Manny Pacquiao, I just want to go and do this, and he'd get in there like a monster and try to take your head off. Much like Jim has the bipolar media personality. He gets real quiet when there's women in the
gets
studio.
shy.
He gets pretty women.
And we've
make me
seen him in
nervous.
action.
And then he starts smoking and cooking otherwise. That's like Pacquiao. He would get in there, I just want to do a good fight and blah, blah. It's fun. It'll be
respect
good.
my
And then he'd
opponent.
get in there and try to take his head off. I mean, he was just an exciting. He had his whole country that was supporting him. Bob Arum stole so much money for him. That's part of the reason that he had to keep fighting to this advanced age because he got a lot of his big fights after he left Top Rank. And I think that's wrong that Bob Arum did that. He should have got a Terrence Crawford fight, a Mikey Garcia fight while they were all under Top Rank. But he.
But I think he was afraid to do it because that would hurt Top Rank. Because instead of having maybe 4 top-level fighters, if 2 of them fight and beat the other guy, now they got 2. Good point. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Pocket watching, but it's all about money.
That should have happened because, and that's the thing. That's the thing. These guys used to fight. It wasn't, these guys were under the same man. No, they would still fight because just because you lost, you could still go back and get another title. But I'm glad he got away and did get some of these big fights afterwards. Adrian Broner, these pay-per-views where he's made more
Bigger
money.
guys, too.
He's made more money later in his
Right, no
career
question.
than he had before. So I'm glad that happened. I think he is going to be a great president, Jim. There you go with your height. Your height, you got all pocket watch. You hate him because he's not that tall. Listen, I think he'd do a great job. He has the support of his people. He's always represented his people correctly. And I look for him to do
man.
big things.
Wow, they still poor over there.
Listen, do you know how much money he
trying.
donates, Jim? You know how much money he donates
I almost went to the
people?
Philippines. They got
That's
8,
right, I remember that.
They got 8 beaches over there, all different.
You wouldn't have
color
made it out,
sand.
Jim, you would have come back missing a hand the way you talked. Man.
Something that Luther always says.
Beautiful
and he-
women.
And he
Beautiful
criticizes a
women,
lot
that's
of the
for
fighters today about they're afraid to lose the zero. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
He would challenge himself, yes.
Jim, would you say, for me, I'm going to say I think Floyd Mayweather has the best resume. If you look at the fighters that he's fought, the
course.
named fighters, and he beat them, and the different styles.
Right.
Do you think that Manny has the second best resume?
Well, the flight to Philippines is 26 hours. That's another reason I didn't go.
I wouldn't do that.
And you guys say Floyd has the best resume.
It's a fact.
That's not a fact in my book.
Yeah, we know about that book.
I think that Manny Pacquiao's resume, Roberto Duran's resume, and there's many others is better than Floyd Mayweather's resume.
But
So
Floyd
yeah,
did beat
I
him.
would say. No, I'm saying
He beat the
talking
guys
about-
he
I'm
fought.
talking about the resume of fighters.
gotta beat him,
Sugar
Jim.
Ray Robinson, all of these guys got better resumes of fighters than what Floyd fought.
losses.
So yeah, I do think no, Manny doesn't take a second seat to Floyd as far as opponents at all.
That's going to be a topic. That's going to be a series. We had the Floyd series. which means he was a great one. That's going to be a topic, best resume. But I still think that Floyd had the best resume. And I'm going to go
25 world champions.
And different styles.
And how many world champions was it when there was only 5 weight divisions? How many world champions? Now there's what, 180 world champions he can
Facts
fight?
or
He can
facts
choose
over
big-
feelings, Jim.
But he did beat 'em.
25
He did
world
beat 'em.
champions,
That
and
wasn't
he's
world
never
champ-
lost.
Them weren't world
They were
champions.
world champions.
No, they was
in
in
the record books.
today's.
Well, does it count as world champion? Yes, it does. 25 world championships. Facts over your sorry feelings, Jim. Those are facts.
You talk about Ali, what's the first person you think about? Frazier. Who was Pacquiao's Frazier?
Man, you got to look at Floyd. Unfortunately, lost to Floyd. Was it Margarito?
Yeah.
Those were some classic fights as well. De La Hoya. I mean,
with that.
listen, man. He has a great card. Despite the losses, he kept coming back, and that's what I wish more of these young fighters would see. He would lose and come back.
Right, exactly.
He'd come back better.
He didn't worry about the ego.
He didn't worry about it. Just like he'd come back, change his style, do a little thing, jump in more, do little things differently, and win. That's what I respect about him.
For me, I'd say it was the Thurman fight, believe it or not, because he was older. He was fighting a much bigger guy who was younger, who was supposed to walk through him. And to be honest with you, I was worried, like you said, I was worried about him in that
worried
fight
for his
because
safety.
I thought he was going to walk right through him. He's a much bigger guy, and man, he's so small. Man, he beat the hell out of him.
Yeah.
So that's what sticks out. He had a few things going against him, including his age, but he won the fight. Jim, what's the first thing that pops up fight in your mind?
Well, the first thing is, when these guys is 10 pounds heavier than the toothpick, you know what I mean? There ain't no Frazier to the all. Heavyweight division for me is boxing. Everything else is an undercard. You want me to talk about undercards. These guys,
star.
now listen.
Pay-per-view star.
Listen, these guys are undercards. I'm not going to, all the fights were good. It was a good, entertaining. It's like cartoons before the movie. for the main event, man. The heavyweights
we're
is
talking
where it's
about
at.
his legacy. We're not gonna let you
No, but he
disrespect
said
him.
the all-lead to the
Well, I'm
Frazier.
comparing, like, who was his
you
guy.
can't compare. I can't compare
Well, I'm
these
not
two
comparing.
picks.
I'm saying who was his guy. Like again, he mentioned a few different guys. For me, I know it's maybe crazy, but I think about Thurman because he was supposed to get stomped on at that age and that size, and he won. What sticks out? Like what one fight was his signature fight, basically?
Pacquiao started off at 106. Some of his best fights was at 126. Any fighter that's 126 is getting beat up by his wife when he gets home. So I can't, you know what I mean?
He's on the wife
Poor
thing.
wife talk.
Pound for pound toothpicks, man.
Listen,
Listen,
Oscar
they're
De La
undercard
Hoya
fighters.
was a legend. People thought he was going to
Floyd was a great undercard fighter. The heavyweights is where the money is.
the pay-per-view star,
Hey,
who
cartoon.
still right now
Cartoon.
gets the biggest pay-per-view
yeah,
stars.
his best event in the ring was in WWE.
Stop.
With Big
Big
Show.
Show.
When he
God.
ran
Rock
for
him
Big
and Big Show didn't move,
Yeah,
yeah.
he ran for Big
Right,
Show.
right.
So,
Oh,
hey,
man,
little
stop.
man.
Stop
Little
the
man.
slander.
Do you think
Jim.
maybe he might come back?
I don't think he's
I don't
coming
think so.
back. After that Ugas performance, I saw his wife in the crowd. She knew he was done. She was just hoping he made it home. So no,
He's
I
done
don't
enough.
think it.
Be
I don't
president.
think. I don't think
Whose
so.
wife?
Pacquiao's wife.
Pacquiao.
You should know about the wives.
You talked about wives the whole
Come on
time,
now.
man. That CTE's getting bad, Jim.
Well, he doesn't know
Stick-
Wilder's
stick to
reach.
it.
He doesn't know Fury's reach. Ask him about the wife. He said,
Right.
well, she's from... all right. Well, again, we wish Manny Pacquiao all the best, and we thank him for the
legend.
great memories. That is definitely a legend. He was a crossover guy. We talk
Yeah.
about crossover. He was a crossover guy. And it wasn't because of his, personality or anything like that. It isn't like he sold the fight ripping him. No, it was people
His style,
appreciated
right.
What's the best food in Philippines?
a Philly steak cheese. Isn't that where they got it? All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about what I think perhaps might be the best undercard in years under the Fury Wilder fight. We're right back with the boxing authorities. All right, well, thank you so much for coming back to the Boxing Authorities. Now, we talked about the Fury-Wilder fight coming up October 9th, but usually, a lot of times, you watch a big main event, and the first 4 or 5 fights are just brutal. I mean, they're not even any good. This card here, we got to give the matchmakers, the promoters,
Yeah.
credit for setting
Finally.
up. And we were looking forward to this back in, when was it, July or whatever,
July.
when it was supposed to happen. So let's talk about 3 main fights. Number 1, Jared Big Baby Anderson, who's 9-0, is fighting a guy, Vladimir Taveshkin, who's 22-0-1, and I believe he's ranked 12th. Taveshkin. Your thoughts?
Luther
on
ain't
this
got no
fight?
notes.
Or maybe not, maybe he's lower, a little bit lower.
Unlike you, don't need a whole book. Jared Big Baby Anderson, I've been following him. He's from Ohio. He has talent. He was sparring with Fury and Efe Ajagba and destroying
well.
both of them. You know, he's part of the reason that fight got postponed. He dropped Fury in the sparring session. He's had some tremendous knockouts, power in both hands. I think he's the future. He's the next great American heavyweight champion. I love him. I haven't seen his opponent, but I know his opponent is in trouble. He has a great record from, like you said, from Russia. But Big Baby is going to put him out within 4 rounds. This guy's tremendous. He's only getting better. His body, was kind of soft before. Now it's getting harder and thin. And he's really putting in the work. And Ohio got their next great champion.
Smoking Jim.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't train Big Baby at gunpoint. I don't like him.
You can't train anybody anyway,
I don't
Jim.
like him, but I do got to give his management team credit. If I was in charge of it, I would go after. This is a perfect opponent.
I was going to ask you.
22-0-1. I know Luther never seen him fight, but I seen him fight a lot. Slowest heavyweight I ever seen. Long as Big Baby don't get caught with one of them overhand rights on the top of the head that he likes to land. Other than that, this guy is slow. He's the perfect guy for Big Baby's resume. This will help Big Baby move up. If I was the other Big Baby, I would try to come back off of steroids and fight the same opponent. This guy is very slow, and Big Baby should take him to school.
Excellent point, which I was going to ask you about that, because you and I always talk about managing fighters. Now, in this one, I'm not being hypocritical. I know he's 9-0, but like Luther brought up, he's been fighting big-time fighters in sparring, and not just fighting them, but doing really
Dominating
well.
them.
So even though he's 9-0, in a sense, experience-wise, Luther, I think he's probably maybe even in the 20 range. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does.
Overrated.
No,
Well,
that's
I'm not saying he's
listen,
ready for
Overrated.
Fury Wilder. I'm not saying that.
He's not
But
overrated.
I think this is a
Joe.
nice step.
When we
agree
do
with
our
you.
top 10, he's definitely not overrated. You've seen
Big
the
baby
talent.
Huey.
It's time for him to step up in competition.
Which I think he's turning it up himself. He is trying.
Yeah, this Russian is not a test
No,
for him.
but-
But I think the next one he needs to fight somebody in that top 10.
Okay.
I think he's ready for that. I don't like
They
these
might be
marinating
afraid
fighters.
to fight somebody like that in the top 10.
But there's some guys he could get in there and fight.
So we both like Anderson over
yeah.
Taveshkin for sure. The next fight, your boy, who you talked about from day one, was who?
Efe
Ajagba. You talked
Ajagba.
about him from day one against Frank Sanchez, who I believe he's in the top 10 or top 12. He's really a guy who's climbing up. Is this too much too early for Ajagba, or is this good?
Listen, I love this fight for Efe. Efe, big, strong, long, still kind of basic in times. But Frank Sanchez,
He's no way
don't
to play
sleep
with.
him.
Right.
He's another guy, very schooled. He doesn't have as much power as Efe Ajagba, but he's schooled in boxing. So it's going to be a tremendous fight. He's going to give Efe Ajagba a real test. Not looked good his last 2 fights. He changed trainers, and ever since then he has
Wait
not
from
looked
Lee
good.
Scott. Go ahead.
You know what I
Here come
mean?
the-
Early on, but since he left Ronnie Shields, he has not looked good. I hope to see a change, but Frank Sanchez is going to make it tough for him. I do favor Efe a little bit because he has more power.
Okay.
I think he can win in a decision. I could see him winning a decision. But Frank Sanchez, it's not going to be an easy
The
test.
doctor of spin.
The spin, Jim. If you listen, I said Efe in a close fight.
I think Sanchez is going to outclass him, unless he gets caught with a shot. He's always got that hammer eraser like Wilder. But I'm thinking Sanchez, because he's going to be hungry too. It isn't like Ajagba is the only one.
He
There's
might be
something
up
in it
in
for
age.
him
He
too.
might be really older than he's really listed as well. He's another.
Yeah, I'm going to pick an upset here. I think Sanchez is going to outclass Ajagba. I think he's going to make Ajagba look bad. He's going to be swinging, give him one of those Wilder. He's going to miss.
Oh, here you
Okay, he's going to miss. I think. Yeah, he may catch him. I think he may knock him down. But I like Sanchez in this one. How about you?
Well, you got a Cuban heavyweight that actually knows a little bit about boxing. I like, listen, you and I, Claudio, always talk about managing fighters. This is a bad fight for Efe. There's no
Yeah.
reason to step up to
Here you are,
Sanchez.
go
In
with
this
this bad
style.
fight.
Yeah, you see Big Baby ain't stepping up to Sanchez or Efe.
Efe's a little older.
Listen, I'd be
Baby.
very surprised. Hey, either of these guys are capable. I'm a FA fan, but I would be very surprised if FA beat Sanchez. I think
Okay,
Sanchez takes him to score.
So you don't think I'm crazy?
No,
It's going to be a close fight. It'll definitely be a close fight.
But you agree with Jim, as I do. Maybe,
we agree a lot.
And you're wrong a lot. Exactly.
I don't know if I'd put him up against this guy. Again,
This
to
is
go
a
back as
good
for an
fight.
example, nobody wanted to fight Jimmy Ellis because even if you beat Jimmy
Yeah.
Young, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
even if you beat him, you look bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Jogbe, let's say he beats him. He's not. I don't think it's going to be easy. He's going to look bad against him.
Yeah, and listen, see, that's where we differ. The reason boxing isn't what it was, we used to get these fights on a regular basis. You guys, I wouldn't put them here.
As
This
a
is
fan,
good
he's looking
fight.
at it as a fan. We're
Listen-
looking at it in the business sense.
Listen,
as a fan, I want to
listen,
see it.
Listen,
I want to see it.
This is what you want. You want guys.
As a fan.
You want competitive fights. That's why this is a great fight. You don't want as A level versus C level. No, these are two evenly matched guys. You want it to see who's going to go to the next level. If they lose, so what? They can come back and
Let me ask you this.
rebuild. I like this fight. You guys still want that C level, A level stuff. I'm not with that.
Give me the levels right now. Is Jogbe going up? Sanchez going up? Or Jogbe going down a little bit? Sanchez going down? I think Sanchez is getting a little bit better.
When's the last? See, Sanchez hasn't been as active lately. FA's, been a little more active to me than Frank Sanchez. I think they're both on that B level, and this can maybe push somebody into the next tier where they can fight a top 10 guy.
Well, here's the difference, Claudio and Luther, is that whoever loses this fight, nobody has to fight them. You keep staying undefeated, you keep moving up. Right. Eventually you're going to get that fight. If you lose, nobody wants to fight either of these two guys. Why would I put
It's a business end of it.
Yeah, why would I put somebody in with one of these guys that lose? And there's no way. There's no
It's a
way.
good name on
He'll
the record.
just go
Yeah.
back. He'll
But
just
if
go
you
back
lo-
to
if you
being
lose and you
being
see
great
those
sparring
flaws,
partner.
boom.
He'll just be a great sparring
Yeah,
partner,
right.
like you see all these guys.
Do you
doing
think
good
a
at
Jogbe or Sanchez would have beaten Rocky Marciano?
Oh,
I got
here
it.
you go. Come on, man. Neither one of these guys beating Rocky.
All right, now the fight that I'm really looking forward to, a guy that's entertaining, maybe not for his own good, but he is entertaining. He comes in, and as soon as the bell rings, he throws punches, and he gets hit. And the only way, I think one time Mayweather said about Arturo Gatti, the only way you miss Arturo Gatti is if you try.
Right.
The only way you miss Adam Kalnaki is if you try. He's fighting the guy who beat him, Robert Helenius. What do you think about that fight?
That fight, man, I was so lost. I was riding with the Kalnaki. I thought he could do it, but he came in. He looked, slower than usual. His defense was absolutely disgusting. Helenius, he's had some losses, but he's a big, strong guy. And this fight, man, I've never seen Helenius look so strong, and Kalnaki overweight, didn't have his legs under him. I was shocked, man. He showed a lot of flaws, and Helenius exploited it. The referee had to save him there.
Jim didn't like the stoppage.
Right. Jim wanted him to hit the ground, but he didn't have his legs. And unless he's changed his defense, he blocks with his face a lot, as you see. No gloves. Let me block with my face and see if I can get one.
Helenius was accurate, though, wasn't he?
Helenius was accurate. It's hard to not be
That's right.
accurate. The guy leaves his whole
I think
face
the ref
there.
just hit him a couple times.
But this fight is a tough one to call. I would hope that Kalnaki did change his style and put some defense up, but he's always going to be a guy who's easy to hit. Helenius has been training and sparring with Deontay Wilder, as he gets ready for Fury. So it's going to be tough, man. I like Helenius to come back and try to do the same thing. I know the networks are trying to push Kalnaki.
Oh, yeah, big time.
So
he's a sell, he's a draw.
So we'll see. I think Kalnaki may have made the change to go 12 rounds, and I think he may get the decision. Okay. A controversial decision.
All right, that's very specific. Jim, you know who he reminds me of? And you being a boxing authority, historian, Don Cockle, he was built like him. Cockle was thicker, but you could pound him, and he kept coming. And again, Rocky got so frustrated against him, he just kind of clubbed him. And he still could. Finally, he knocked him down, but he could take a hell of a punch. But I think this guy's better offensively. But your thoughts on Kalnaki Helenius?
Well, what he reminds me of is one of the Three Stooges. Hey, listen, Kalnaki's a bum.
We don't call people bums,
he's
Jim.
A bum.
Stop that.
He's a bum.
You call people trash.
And he's
I don't call him a bum.
He's a bum.
I said a fight
my
is trash.
fault.
I never call a boxer bum. Stop that,
Kalnaki's
Jim.
a bum, but he's great for boxing. I cheer for him. He's an entertaining fighter.
You just want to see white people get hit.
He gives
That's what you wanna
everything
see.
he got, man. But you know what I mean? But like I said, he's one of the guys. I'm pulling for him. I pulled for him for the last fight. You know, I'm a fan of his.
But you call him a bum.
No, he's a bum.
You
He
know
can't
he's
fight.
Yeah,
He can't fight. That's what bum
Jim.
means. Want me to spell it out? B-U-M means you can't
Anybody,
fight.
I'm not saying anybody who gets in the ring at that level is a bum.
Well,
Stop.
that's you. That's
know,
you. You say what you
yeah,
want to say.
yeah,
You say what you want to say.
We know you say what you want to say. You
Galaki's
make
a
up a
bum.
lot of stuff with your JLC
Galaki's
stuff.
a bum, but I
Yeah.
love him. Does he look like one of the Three Stooges? Can you give me that?
He's a bum. I don't judge looks, Jim.
Okay.
You go in here looking at, he looks like this. You keep judging, man.
What about
That's
his
not-
wife?
I'm not in that
Oh,
field.
his wife is good looking.
There you
man.
go.
Wife is
I
good
knew he was
looking.
going to know that.
Wife is good looking.
How much does he weigh?
I don't know what he
All right,
weighed.
what's
but
his
I tell you-
reach?
I tell
What's
you
his
what-
record?
I tell you what.
All he knows is his wife is good looking.
He's
That's
20,
all he knows.
He's 20-1, but I tell
Good
you
look
what,
at his nose.
he got the muscle tone of a canned ham.
Well, I agree with you. He is definitely he's great for boxing.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he comes in and again he just walks right to you. He doesn't try to fool you. He doesn't try to stick in nothing. And I don't know how many damn years he can keep doing this.
Yeah.
But I think it's good for boxing that he lost because there's a rematch, right? But I think he's going to win this fight. I think Helenius, if you watch him fight, he was his footwork wasn't very good. I mean, it's hard to, like I said, not hit Kanaki. And I think maybe he tasted his glory, his 15 minutes of fame is, what's the guy from Pittsburgh's name who says that? The guy they have a museum, Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol. Oh,
he
okay.
says, your 15 minutes of fame. I think Helenius is done.
But I agree with you and Luther. This is the greatest group of heavyweights in boxing history.
No, don't put that on
And
it.
I
We
give
never
Helenius
said that.
credit, which we'll get to later, for
But,
beating Kanaki.
but you guys are both talking about this great undercard because it's all heavyweights. That's
Yeah.
what we want to see. Those are all main events.
They're not
No,
main event.
no, they're entertaining.
They're entertaining.
They're entertaining.
They're good.
They're not
When the
as
big
good
ba-
as
the
a
big
Corey
baby
and
versus the
Weaver
Russians.
and those
Yeah.
all them guys back in Cooney. No.
Better.
This
better
is
than
solid
that.
because this is solid because we usually don't have undercards this
Right.
stacked. But neither one of them could be headline
It's
main
because
events right
usually
now.
you got them smaller weights on the undercard.
No, but I think
Them
what Luther's saying is,
cartoons.
okay, you have the main event, obviously. But tell me we're not going to be interested in these three. We're not going to be just joking around
Right.
talking. These other fights
I'm
we've been
coming.
showing.
What time is it start? I'll be there early.
Jim always late.
9 o'clock? We'll be ready.
Jim will be there at 12
And
o'clock
Luther
for
said
the
he's
main
coming.
fight.
Let's see. You're
Jim will
on,
be
you're
there
on
for the main
Worldwide
fight.
TV. Are you coming or not?
Of course.
All right. All right. Well, so who do you like in that fight?
All that, not even. Come on, Jim.
Let me see. Two ballroom brawlers. So I'm pulling for
Kanaki.
Kanaki. He's better for boxing.
I
You can't
agree
even
with
say
you.
his
I
name.
agree with you.
Did you ever see him fight before, Jim?
Yeah, I've seen him
Get outta
get
here.
beat.
Now, real quick, do any of these guys, any of these fighters, do any of them have a shot to win the championship?
Oh, I've already told you, Big Baby, he's the next American heavyweight champion. Yes, he's in line. F.A. Ajagba has some talent, but he's still raw and he still makes a lot of mistakes. The one I see is Jared Big Baby Anderson. I can guarantee he is going to win.
Because of
a
his
title.
size or ability and size?
Yeah, well, he's not really his size because he's not one of the bigger
You
heavyweights. But his
serious a
ability.
robot? Would you guarantee it?
Oh, I'm guaranteeing. I've been hanging around
You
you
gonna stand
too much.
behind that?
Yeah, I'm standing. He will win a heavyweight title. I didn't say he's going to be undisputed, but he will win a heavyweight title. You know, I look at the young guys coming up. I look at the old guys leaving. He will be one of the guys
Yeah,
that
your
has
last
a
guarantee was
championship.
Kmart wouldn't go out of business.
No, I never said that, Jim. You're
They
dating
said the
yourself,
Super
Jim.
Kmart wouldn't go out of business.
Half the people watching don't even know what a Kmart
telling
is, Jim.
you.
You're dating yourself, old man.
Jim, what do you think? Any of these guys who are fighting on this undercard have a shot for the belt?
Well, I think Big Baby, the real Big Baby, whatever they call him, will be undefeated until he's into a tough fight. I think his heart is pumping Kool-Aid. I think that this
man,
guy,
it's a slander, Jim.
listen,
That's all
this
you do is
guy,
slander
he's
brothers.
been cuddled. Listen, the toughest guy to ever come out of Cincinnati is Cat Williams. So we ain't scared. We ain't scared. You ain't had no competition in Cincinnati.
Aaron Pryor.
Aaron, the
Sean
late
Porter.
great Aaron Pryor.
Sean Porter.
Oh, Sean Porter ain't nothing but a club fighter. But listen, this is a big
rich
baby.
one.
He is being cuddled his whole way through. I think that when he gets in the big fight, the only guy I really see, I see a Jaffe whatever his name is, the
Called a
African.
man from Coming to It's a Jogba.
Coming to America.
You watched Coming to America last
America.
night. Come on, get it right, Jim.
But I tell you what,
Jogba.
Sanchez, any of these guys, this is a division or it'll be like the 70s where this guy went, really the 80s, where this guy's a champ. Next week, this guy's a champ. We got a lot of champions here. Right. And I think that Frank Sanchez, that's great for boxing. But the only difference between this and the 80s, this is the best era of heavyweight boxing I've ever seen.
Who did you say? Who did you say is it?
I
said a whole lot.
Answer my question.
Answer the question, Jim.
I think Big Baby will not be able to beat anybody that is in a tough fight. I don't think he got enough heart for that. But I think the Jaffe, whatever you call it, and Frank Sanchez, both of them got a chance to win the title.
Remember Pat McEnroe when he was playing? He said, "Answer my question." Well, we come back. We're going to talk about today's heavyweights and rank them, and maybe if these guys can crack that top 10. Right back with the boxing authorities. All right, thank you for tuning back to the Boxing Authorities. I saw something on the Sporting Life they ranked their top 10 heavyweights. And this is the order. This is most recent. They have Fury number 1, Usyk number 2, AJ number 3, Wilder 4, White 5, Andy Ruiz 6, Joe Joyce 7, Parker 8, Michael the Bounty Hunter 9, and a guy named Anthony Yoka, who everybody's been talking about. I got to do a little more research on him at number 10. Luther, who do you can use my?
I don't need that. Listen, I'm really disappointed. See, I like how they elevate all these guys. Usyk has fought 3 fights at heavyweight. You know, he fought Witherspoon, D-level fighter. He fought Derek Chisora, C-level fighter. And he fought Anthony Joshua, who's definitely, come back, and he's not A-level anymore. He looked very amateurish, and now all of a sudden he's better than all these other heavyweights. No.
But you got to put a champion.
You got to put a champion in there, but you put him over Wilder. Wilder destroys Usyk in 3 rounds.
You think so?
Oh, easily. If they, once Wilder gets past Fury,
I'm going to ask you that in a second.
He destroys him. Listen, he can't take. We saw Derek Chisora hurt Usyk. We saw Anthony Joshua hurt Usyk a couple times, marked up his face, and neither of them had the power of Wilder.
Right.
But okay, if you want to put Fury, fine. After this weekend, that will all change. But Fury. Wilder, AJ, all those guys are up there. You got to put White. He's a WBC mandatory, even though he's very chinny. We saw him get hurt a number of times. After that, I have Luis Ortiz, who should be up there as number 5. Listen, and after that, I don't put all these Parkers and all these other guys. I would put Andy Ruiz at number 6.
Right, they're all the same.
They're all the same. And then I would get my young guys in there. I'd put a Big Baby in there.
I'd put top 10.
I'd put right now, okay. Because if he fought Parker right now, I'd take Big Baby because I'm not impressed by him. Yeah. So I would put him in there. I would put F.A. Ajagba in there. I think he'll, and I put a Filip Hrgović in there as well.
I know you like him.
As a top 10. He's another guy. But so I would have the younger guys, these old guys, the Parkers and all these guys. No, they're past their prime. Those are my 10. Of course, we have the same 5. I have Ortiz higher than you guys, but at the far end, I have the young guys. Big Baby Anderson, F.A. Ajagba, Filip Hrgović. Listen, these are guys that you're going to hear. And, of course, I still have the Dillian Whites and the Andy Ruiz in there as well. But you got to put these young guys in there because if they fought now, and Joe Joyce is my last one, I would put him at number 7.
Okay. Jim, he mentioned something before you go with your rankings about Wilder just beating the hell out of Usyk. I like the way Usyk moved, and Wilder may have a problem with that style of moving. Your thoughts on that?
Well, the last time Wilder fought an Olympian, he got beat. So, hey, listen, great is great. This is a great era of heavyweights. These guys can beat each other. But I tell you what, a guy on that list, I know Luther didn't do his homework on him, but a guy on that list is Tony Yoka. This is a guy that's cocky. He got size. Yeah. Right now, he's a head hunter. Right now, he's a head hunter. I like about him is he may get a disqualification because he has no respect for the referee. He'll throw the referee
Galata? Got a lot of Galata in him?
Well, he's smarter than Galata. He's a good-looking kid. got great size. He got talent,
Jim was on
unlike
these looks
Gallardo.
today, man.
But this is a guy that will throw a referee out of the way to get a few more punches in. He don't care. Yeah, the referee, he won't let the referee raise his hand. He moves his hand. So he could have a disqualification. But this is a guy that can be definitely a world champion one day.
right.
Check him out, Tony Yoka.
So
I like
who's
him.
in your top 10?
It,
I know you got a list.
well, I didn't make a particular list
He got
because
confused
I
on the
kinda-
assignment. The CTE hit him.
I like
got confused
I
on the
like-
He
assignment.
got 30 guys on
I
the
like
list.
what I'm seeing here, and there's another 20 other guys I think that has a chance
20.
to be champions. I think this is
We
the
all over the
greatest
place. We said 10,
heavyweight
you got
Did you
division.
know,
30.
wait a minute. Did you know that he thought this was the greatest heavyweight era of all time?
Their greatest heavyweight era.
He got
And-
confused on the
You've been
assignment.
lying. You've been lying since we've been doing this
And
show.
according to the undercard, everybody else thinks this way too.
Nobody thinks that way, Jim.
So, okay, do you think Fury's number one?
I wouldn't. I would still have AJ number one. Yeah.
And that's where you lose all credibility. That's a fanboy statement, Jim. He
go ahead.
just got
After
dominated.
that.
You can't have him number one.
If I had to rank them, I'd say AJ Fury.
After a loss, but go ahead.
Yeah, AJ Fury,
Trash.
Wilder. Still after that, man, I tell you what, man, I have to put Tony Yosick in there.
At
You
4?
got- yeah, and
gosh, who's
then
he
Usyk.
fighting?
I like Usyk a lot. You got to have him in there at 5. I'd have Andy Ruiz there at 6. You got to have Dillian White at 7. Parker, I love Parker. I don't know why Luther don't like Parker. Out of the
Because we
top
saw
10,
him fight.
and I'd have to
I saw him fight.
and I'd have
Andy
to,
Ruiz beat him, too.
and I'd have to kick the Bounty Hunter out of my top 10. He can't
Michael
be in
Hunter?
the
Well,
top 10,
real quick now, I got to read this. Ortiz challenged. Well, Joyce said that his camp contacted Ortiz. And Ortiz said they never contacted me because they don't have my
news.
information
See,
to contact me.
they just, everybody throws out Ortiz's name, but when he says, let's fight,
Well-
there's always a duck coming.
Ortiz was very specific. He says, fight me on the first or second week of December when under the Tank Davis undercard. And I like that. Also, Andrew Ruiz is challenging Kaunaki if he wins. Charles Martin, which he'll beat Charles Martin. And he's challenging Luis Ortiz, which I don't think he gets. So, my top 10, I'm still going to go with Fury.
Okay.
Number 2, I understand what Luther's saying. He does make a good point about jumping Usyk up too much, but I was really impressed with the way he fought. He was under the biggest fight of his life, big lights, fighting a guy who was much bigger than him, supposed to be better, heavyweight champ, and he dominated. If it was a close fight, maybe I wouldn't have given it as much, but he
AJ
dominated.
the hype train.
I'm sorry?
AJ the hype train.
Yeah, well, and then I got Wilder third. And I got AJ fourth. I have Ortiz fifth. The only guy that he lost to was Wilder, and he was doing well in those
He didn't
fights.
want either
just
one of
got
those
caught.
fights. He got
Yeah,
caught, right.
I'm gonna drop Ortiz down. Ruiz to 6. I guess I'm gonna put Dillian White 7. Joe Joyce, I'm gonna have a hard time putting him in because I
Guys,
just
do not. You all don't see
I'm
the
not
magic
crazy
in
about him
Joyce,
yet.
that
No.
jab.
Hunter, and I'm gonna put a surprise. Lanius 10.
Ooh.
Put him 10. I don't think he's gonna be there long. Who? That Hellenius who fought.
The one who's
Kaunaki.
fighting Kanaki this weekend, Joe.
He's
Do
30
your
wins.
homework, Jim.
He hasn't fought a bunch of good names, but I'm going to give him credit. I'm going to jump him to 10.
Where you got him?
Oh, Arslander Makhmudar. I know that's the guy they keep talking about.
You know I love him.
You've liked him from
But
day
you didn't
one.
even put him on the list, Jim. Now all of a sudden you found.
I was just asking
you
Claudio
turned
where he had
pages-
him.
He turned pages
He
and
said,
found
what-
it.
what is
What's
this,
his name?
But I like that. I do think that these
Floyd
guys,
Mayweather
though.
School of Reading, Jim.
But I do like
terrible.
Luther's thoughts that anybody who. So let me ask you this real quick. I won't put words in your mouth. Whoever wins those 3 fights, would you say there's 3 winners? Obviously, do you say all 3 are going to go to top 10?
They should be. They won't go. They should be because these
you
are
think-
solid fights.
I'm
You
with
know,
you,
Big
though.
Baby, his resume's not there yet. But FA versus Sanchez,
Frank Sanchez.
Frank Sanchez. Those guys should be in it because that's a solid fight. Both undefeated, both top 15 guys. They should ascend to the next level, in my opinion.
I do like that Ajagba's fighting Sanchez.
Yeah.
Guys are close rankings.
Guys are
'cause
close.
and
I love
like
that. I love that.
like
And so those guys should jump into that top 10 and should start getting moved to fight for a title.
Well, Big
you
Baby
know?
can't go in the top 10. He's a mama's boy. You know, he got to have
There
some.
you go.
He got to have some
But you
real
heard
There
me
you
ask you
go,
this,
man.
Jim,
Big
'cause-
Baby has talent and skills.
mama's boy.
Okay, let's say the big money makers are who? Who's going to be the biggest draw? Fury, Wilder, and still AJ.
AJ still.
Do you think Usyk? Can you throw him in there?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. So
Not
the
yet.
big
Now,
three. We
Now,
still have
after
to
the
think.
second fight, when he dominates Anthony Joshua again, yes, you can put him in there.
But let's
Right
just
now,
say for
he's
right
still-
now, Fury, Wilder, and AJ are the big money makers. Are any of these guys going to bring anything to the table right now? Now, I know down the road, Anderson, anybody right now.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, you know, you just never know because you just don't know who's going to have that charisma and that marketability. You know, but it doesn't mean I don't look at big money. I look at
You're always
guys
in
that can
people's
fight, and these are fighters.
They're
This
fighters,
This
yeah.
is a great class of heavyweights, and it's going to do great things for boxing. Whether or not these guys will ever go down in history as mega $1 million fighters,
Right.
But they're outstanding, great fighters.
Well,
and
let me
there's
ask you this
No
then.
other era at a heavyweight division that is as good as this.
Oh,
Let me ask you
stop
this real
pushing
quick
that
before we go to our
agenda, Jim.
mailbag. I don't see Kalnaki, Lanius, Ajagba, Sanchez, Anderson right now, or Taveshkin beating Fury, Usyk, Wilder, or even AJ.
I think a lot of them could stand a chance against AJ because he's really regressed.
Yeah,
If you
he
look
has.
at when he fought Klitschko,
Mentally,
he was
he's
hungry.
regressed.
He
Yeah.
was more active. He threw in combinations.
Right.
Now he's not moving his head. He does a 1-2, and he's trying to be a boxer.
Okay.
That's when he was at his best. He was a destroyer. 20 fights, 20 KOs. Now he's trying to be a boxer, and that's just not his style. He needs to go back to his roots and be who he is. He's not a boxer. You're not going to outbox these guys.
You mean like Wilder's going to go back to his roots and be a slugger? All right, right?
We'll talk Saturday night, and
Maybe
listen,
we won't
listen.
invite him.
Listen, because I'm going to be all in your face when
I
it
know
happens.
that.
You know,
All right, when we
your,
come back-
your neighbors may call the police because I'm going to be so loud.
All right. Well, when we come back, our most popular segment, mailbag. Right back with the boxing authorities. Thank you for tuning back to the Boxing Authorities mailbag. Keep sending us the questions on our show here. The address will be up, and continue to send them to my show on ClaudioRosano.com. This is for all three of us. Tucker from Arizona. Why is it that the past you usually had to fight 25 fights, 27 fights to get a title shot? Now you go in there with like 10, like Lomo and Morrell. Why is that, Luther?
Well, you know, it depends on who you're pushed by. You know, Lomachenko came with a Olympic pedigree, and he got pushed faster than anybody I've ever seen in my life. You know, his second fight, he's fighting for a title. You know, that's why he was able to ascend that. So a lot of it nowadays depends on your promoter. Your promoter can put you in position because there's guys now that's not with the big three promoters that have the skills, but they're not getting that title shot. So it's all about the promoter. If you have the Bob Arums, Eddie Hearn can get you there, Al Heyman,
Right.
the promoters push you that way, and I don't like that.
Jim, your thoughts on that?
I think that now anybody comes off the football field could think they can have a title shot in five fights. I think that Myles Garrett may be next. I think if Myles Garrett
God.
takes it serious, he could be the next. He wants to fight.
Jake, he's
I think-
talking about Jake
I think
Paul.
I think if Ed Too Tall Jones was fighting in this era, he'd fight for a heavyweight championship.
Oh, so it's not the greatest then? That's what you're saying?
No, because they just throw you in. Before you had to earn the
Oh
right.
God.
So that's what I'm saying. You had to
earn the
earn, you had to
right,
fight,
yeah.
you had to move
Ring
up the
magazines
rankings.
and ring
Right, you had to move up the
magazines.
rankings.
Yeah,
Now,
today you
like Lou
just
said,
have-
Loma,
You get-
here, good fight.
Yeah, you get these promoters, they can push you. They pretty much control the belt.
Is that good for the sport, though?
I don't like it because
I like when they climb up and you earn it.
Yeah.
All right. Jim, this is for you. Caitlin from Boston. It seems like amateur fighting is more important overseas than it is here in the U.S. Is that true? Your thoughts on that?
That's very true. Everybody's here wanting to play football and think they're going to the NBA, and nobody plays baseball. But it used to be amateur boxing was big in the United States. Now it's big in other countries. Yeah,
Right.
they don't take it serious here.
Why is that? Is it all
Be-
money?
Because there's no where are you going to promote, boxing? You know what I mean? Everybody wants the big crowds is at the football games, the basketball games, the homecoming queens. There, boxing is not in the high schools. And so, other than in West Virginia where you got the tough man competition, and then you can learn, so it's too bad because back in the 70s and 80s, boxing was great.
Yeah.
Still in amateur boxing, gold
I
gloves.
think that
and
helps the
everything.
pros. That helps the pros. Helps the Olympics. Helps the pros. Well, as always, we hope you enjoy the show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities. Check you out next time.